Rather lads, welcome back to Kossi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kossi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're still diving into a transfer deadline day with Arsenal. A lot is happening. We're trying to pull off deals, and one outgoing deal has actually been accomplished. We have also now formally sent in our bid, according to Sky Sports, for Douglas Luiz. Talks ongoing now between Arsenal and Aston Villa. Very positive information coming out of there. A deal could be struck very, very soon. We are also going to be talking about Tielemans and the future, why Arsenal are not signing him this summer, and could there be a possibility that we tie him down to a long-term contract in January, on a pre-contract in January, and sign him next summer. All that and more is going to be discussed in this transfer window show. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast. Let's get this video to 800 likes, and we are moving very close to 60,000 subscribers. So make sure you're part of the family before the opportunity actually runs out. Now let's start off with news from James Ollie, confirming there that at the moment Arsenal have agreed a contract termination with Hector Bellerin. James Ollie is a journalist with ESPN. He can also confirm now that that Bellerin is now in advanced talks to join FC Barcelona. Sources close to the player expected to be done very, very soon. Given the termination, there will be no fees involved. Now, Fabrizio Romano has also just confirmed that Hector Bellerin has agreed personal terms with FC Barcelona. That is done and dusted. He should be able to sign for them. He should be able to join them, just like I reported a few minutes ago, on a free. Now, with Hector Bellerin, I think this was always bound to happen. Arsenal have been very optimistic about getting a small figure in this deal, but in the end, it has actually not played out the way we wanted. Arsenal wanted to sell him. A couple of offers did come onto the table with from Juve, Fiorentina, I think Valencia, Villarreal as well. All those clubs were willing to pay at least 5 million euros, at least 10 million euros for the services of Hector Bellerin, but the player always wanted Barcelona or Real Betis. So Arsenal have decided to terminate the contract of the player, to let him go for free. In my opinion, it's a very, very kind act by Arsenal, because we could have decided to sell him anywhere. We could have decided to sell him to any club that was giving us the money. A couple of Premier League clubs were also interested in his signature, but Arsenal have decided if the player wants to go to Barcelona and Barca do not want to pay any fees, then so be it. So he's gone back to Barca. Of course, we did get him from the academy of Barcelona way back under Arsene Wenger. He's gone back. We wish him all the best. In my opinion, it's not a deal. It's that it's not a partnership. It is not a relationship that was actually going to work out with him and Arsenal Football Club. He's a very, very good friend of Mikel Arteta. Actually, according to Hector Bellerin, when Mikel Arteta was still a player at Arsenal, he treated Bellerin as a son. He treated him as family. He loves him so much, and we understand that he's one of the players that he really fought for. One of the carriers Mikel Arteta fought for. He tried to change him. He tried to change things around. He tried to turn things around with the career of Hector Bellerin, but it seems that the player had fallen so far with all those failed, throw-ins, failing at tracking back and not giving in his best for the team. He decided to leave the club first on loan to Real Betis, and then finally on a permanent to Barcelona. Now the relationship between Arsenal and Hector Bellerin is over. Personal terms are agreed with FC Barcelona, according to Fabrizio Romano, and contract termination is also done and dusted, according to James Ollie from ESPN. We wish him all the best as Arsenal fans. We don't have a problem with him. I think the role at right back has been really revolutionized by Mikel Arteta, introducing the likes of Ben White and Tomiyasu to, deputize each other, fight for that position. I think Hector Bellerin is no longer needed in this team. There's been talk about him staying from Charles Watts, but that is not the case at the moment. He won't be staying with Arsenal Football Club. He joins FC Barcelona on transfer deadline day. Now, moving on to the other deals that will be happening very, very soon. We are talking about Douglas Luiz still, just like I reported in the earlier episode. Douglas Luiz is very close to joining Arsenal Football Club. Fabrizio Romano right here still confirming that Douglas Luiz is pushing to join Arsenal. He wants the move, and official talks are ongoing for a 20 million figure, 20 million pound figure. Personal terms not an issue. That has been agreed already. Now, the Telegraph, but from the Telegraph, is also saying here that Arsenal's 20 million bid for Douglas Luiz has been submitted, but it will be rejected by Aston Villa. This is not the end of the saga. Villa think Arsenal should add more money to that. It has been also confirmed by Sky Sport as well that Arsenal have sent in their 20 million pound bid for Douglas Luiz. Now, I'm going to say this. Luiz is not going to be an easy one for Arsenal to do. Of course, now Aston Villa will also announce Dendoncker, according to Fabrizio Romano, very, very soon. So Dendoncker is crossing the other way. Douglas Luiz is coming this way. How much are we going to pay? How much is Arsenal willing to part with for Douglas Luiz is the question. If the bid is rejected, my understanding is that Arsenal will go back with a second bid of around 25 million pounds, and that should see the deal over the line. Talks are still ongoing. No bid has been rejected yet, but according to the Telegraph, they're expecting that bid to be rejected. Aston Villa want something more than 20 million pounds. Now, the situation around Leicester City's Tielemans is what I want us to talk about in this video primarily. So, Douglas Luiz, of course, is a player that can play as a DM stroke CM. Mikel Arteta, according to The Athletic and David Stein, way back in June, reported that Mikel was looking for someone who can play as a central midfielder. Douglas Luiz can do that very, very well. He can play in a double pivot as the central midfielder, as the box-to-box guy, and can also play as a defensive midfielder in a single pivot. So The Athletic have already said that Arsenal wanted someone like that, someone with who's Premier League proven, someone who can also compete very, very well with the likes of Thomas Partey, and someone who is very, very young, someone who fits into what Arsenal are trying to do in this transfer market and also in the previous transfer markets. Very young, able to develop, and has a lot of quality, but also has a resale value in the future. So Douglas Luiz has been chosen over Youri Tielemans, and that is the discussion we are having on the channel right now. What do you think about Douglas Luiz being chosen over Youri Tielemans? Are you happy? Are you disappointed? Are you sad? Are you okay with the fact that Tielemans doesn't sign and Douglas Luiz joins the club? Where do you stand on this one? Is Douglas Luiz better than Youri Tielemans? Now, that's a question that has been asked of me in the comment section. Because you compare the two, is Douglas Luiz better than Youri Tielemans? It's not an easy one. It's not straightforward for me to come out and say Tielemans is better or Douglas Luiz is better. I think both players do have their strength and both players do have their weaknesses in that in that area of the pitch. But certainly, one thing that Douglas Luiz can do that Youri Tielemans cannot do is playing as a defensive midfielder. And the decision for Arsenal to go for Douglas Luiz and not Youri Tielemans, draws its draws its energy, draws its its reasons to the fact that Douglas Luiz can play for us as a defensive midfielder. He will be doubling as a defensive midfielder and a central midfielder as well. One player who can play together with Thomas Partey in that midfield pivot, one player who can play with Granit Xhaka in the midfield pivot as well, and one player who can play alone in the single midfield pivot, and one player who can play without any other support, any support in the pivot as well. That is the reason as to why we've chosen him. That's the reason as to why Arsenal have chosen him over Youri Tielemans. Tielemans, on the other hand, can play very well in a 4-1-4-1 system where Thomas Partey plays as a defensive midfielder. Then Youri Tielemans joins the midfield to add some extra quality that is alongside That is alongside, Martin Odegaard. But the arrival of Fabio Vieira means Arsenal do not have to put themselves on pressure for the signing of Youri Tielemans. You have Fabio Vieira, who is absolutely fantastic. He can't play as a second number 8. He can't play as a second number 10. You can play him as an attacking midfielder. You can play him as a winger. You can play him in across the board. And that's the reason as why Youri Tielemans' deal will not be happening this summer unless other way. So we've chosen to go with Douglas Luiz over Youri Tielemans because of the versatility, but also because of his ability to play in the much needed defensive midfield role that Arsenal are actually chasing after. So who is better? If we were to compare each of them, chance creation, Youri Tielemans is the better guy. If you look at Douglas Luiz, he's not going to create for you as many chances as you want. He's not going to be scoring for you as many goals as there is, as other midfielders are going to be doing. So if you want that kind of Ike Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne guy, then that is Youri Tielemans. Because for him, his speciality is all about dribbling the ball, creating chances, and scoring goals, especially when balls ricochet off defenders and fall in that area outside the penalty area. And also, I think Youri Tielemans is a very, very good player when it comes to drawing himself and carrying himself into the penalty area. He's very good at that. He could score for Arsenal 10 goals. When you look at the chances that we are getting, and the number of dead ball situations that we are getting, and the number of balls that just fall in the penalty area, begging, asking to be completed, Youri Tielemans is one of those guys that can actually do that for you. But it's not going to be joining us. Like I said, it is Douglas Luiz. So comparing the two at the moment, chance creation, Youri Tielemans is the better guy. Better control or ball control. I'm trying to talk. We talk about passing accuracy. We talk about keeping the ball better. We're talking about ensuring total dominance in the midfield. Then that is Douglas Luiz. And earlier in the first video, I compared him to Jorginho. That is the kind of player he is. He loves to be on the ball. He loves to be, passing the ball around. He loves to be, distributing the ball, allowing other players to pick their spots as he holds the ball, and then he's gonna make those passes. He's gonna make those passes. He's gonna be passing the ball through the lines. Not one that's gonna create for you chances. Don't get carried away by him signing for Arsenal. He won't be scoring as many chances. He won't be creating as many chances. Not scoring as many goals. But one guy that is going to ensure that Arsenal have the ball all the time, and they will, and we will definitely, dominate matches with him in our midfield. So that is what I can do in terms of comparison. I don't think. Look, defensively, both players are not actually up there when it comes to tackling. Douglas Luiz is not that kind of guy that I'm very, very, happy with. And the fact that he's not getting into that Brazilian, fast team, and players like Fred are getting in ahead of him, shows you that his defensive work off the ball is not that late. But I think with Mikel Arteta, with him coming into this Mikel Arteta system, I think Mikel Arteta will try to work everything when it comes to off the ball matters with him. I expect I expect better performances from Douglas Luiz in terms of tackling, in terms of blocking, in terms of interceptions as well. I expect some better work, and that should be done, with lessons from Mikel Arteta. So both of them defensively are not up there, but Youri Tielemans, obviously, offensively, he is the guy. So what will happen with Youri Tielemans? This is what I'm going to be, saying, and this is what I'm anticipating. I'm really disappointed that my prediction right from June has not actually come to pass. I thought we would get the deal over the line on deadline day. But the question was, do you get a defensive midfielder or do you get a central midfielder? In central midfield, you have Xhaka, you have Odegaard, you have Emile Smith-Rowe and Fabio Vieira. In defensive midfield, you have only you have only Albert Lokonga to turn to right about now. And I think Arsenal have gone with the right decision. Get a defensive midfielder, sign a defensive midfielder, forget all about the rest. Get a defensive midfielder, and everything will actually work out. So look, I'm not fuming. I'm not absolutely fuming. I think Arsenal have gone with the right decision. I said it yesterday, part one, that the only reason I will forgive Arsenal for not signing Yuri Tielemans is if they decide to go for a defensive midfielder. That is a role that has been haunting us for 3 years, ever since we signed Thomas Partey. Whenever he picks up an injury, whenever he's gone for AFCON, whenever he's away on a party, we are actually panicking. That is the word. We are always panicking when Thomas Partey is away. The potential arrival, because he's not actually arrived yet, unless there is something new, not yet. So it's only about the bid that has been sent in, nothing new. So the arrival of Douglas Luiz means Arsenal are now securely safe in that defensive midfield role. Whether Partey is around, whether Partey is not around, it really doesn't matter. It's going to be very interesting to see whether Mikel Arteta will actually play him against Man United on Sunday, or will he stick with Albert Sambi Lokonga. Lokonga did play well against Aston Villa, but I think Douglas Luiz should start. He should start against Man United if we get the deal off the line. Very exciting signing, by the way. Many people don't understand him. Many people don't know what he does. But I think him coming to Arsenal is going to raise his game a little bit. And I won't be very surprised if come November, come December, he plays for Brazil in defensive midfield alongside Casemiro, and then Fred drops to the bench. Because under Erik ten Hag, I'm still suspecting that Fred will drop to the bench. Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno will be playing in that midfield three, and probably Scott McTominay, the guy that always is the first option to come off the bench, together with the likes of Donny van de Beek. So Douglas Luiz moving to Arsenal, this is a huge move for him as a player, because he knows and he will understand currently you want to fight for your spot in the Brazilian national team. There's so many talented midfielders for Brazil, including Danilo, that Arsenal have been trying to chase, including the likes of Casemiro, and Fred, that are already starting out of him. He comes to Arsenal, he joins Arsenal, he establishes himself as one of the key starters in Mikel Arteta's team. He's definitely going to benefit from this. So Yuri Tielemans in January, much of the possibility now. I've seen a couple of stories from The Athletic, notably, by the way. I think it has been Tana writing that story from The Athletic. You can chase up that story. That Leicester City are not expecting any other big departures, including the one for Yuri Tielemans. So Tielemans will not join Arsenal currently. He will not join Liverpool, because Liverpool have signed Arthur Melo on a loan deal from Juventus. Interesting to see what is going to happen with Yuri Tielemans. Will Arsenal keep in contact with the player until January, when we can sign him on a pre contract, when we can tie him down to a pre-contract and sign him for free in the summer? Are we going to sign him next summer as a free agent, or are we going to be walking away just like we did with the Housem Aouar situation? It is not new that Arsenal will walk away from a deal that they've been trying to chase all summer, and the Yuri Tielemans deal is now facing that direction. So the information I have and what I've seen is that Arsenal are very, very optimistic that the money they would have spent on Yuri Tielemans can go into his pocket as a sign-on fee as a free agent. Now, I don't want Yuri Tielemans and the likes of his agents to criticize Arsenal so much. We know that it is absolutely beneficial for them to sign for Arsenal on a free. A huge sign-on fee is going to be waiting for Yuri Tielemans, and a huge sign-on fee is going to be waiting for the agent of the player as well. So Yuri Tielemans, there is still chance for us to sign him. We can get that deal over the line as well, but that could be in January and also in the summer. So currently, that is what is happening. Hector Bellerin personal terms agreed with FC Barcelona. The termination of the player's contract has also been completed. No longer an Arsenal player. of the wage bill. I'm really, really happy with that. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, there is an agreement between Arsenal and Southampton today that he will be joining Southampton on a loan deal with an option to buy. A couple of other clubs, including Everton, have also been interested in the signature of the England, or not midfielder, so we should say international. But at the moment, I can confirm Arsenal have triggered the clause to extend his contract, and I've loaned him to Southampton. So if Southampton, are happy with with him and how everything is actually working out, then they will be able to sell him. To buy him. At the end of the season, I think it will be around 10 to 15 million euros is what Arsenal are demanding in the signature of Ainsley Maitland-Niles. So in terms of outgoings, we are still doing very, very well. Any other player that I would love to see out of the door, and they have not left yet? I don't think so. I think the departure of Bellerin, the departure of Ainsley Maitland-Niles means Arsenal have actually got rid of their deadwood. Pablo Mari, Lacazette, Ainsley, Bellerin, Lucas Torreira as well, Nicola Pepe. I mean, it's a very, very good job that Arsenal have done in terms of getting players out, because that is over 8 players, including Leno and Brunasson, 9 players that have actually left Arsenal Football Club. Not really unwanted players, but players that do not match the standards of this football club. Of course, it's really arguable if Leno is worse than Matt Turner, but we wait to see what's going to happen and how Matt Turner is actually going to turn up. So no winger in this window as things stand. No winger links in this window as things stand. Other clubs are signing forward players. Arsenal are not. According to Fabrizio Romano here, bingo, confirmed by other journalists as well. Ainsley Maitland-Niles has completed his move to Southampton. Medical done and contracts to be signed now with Arsenal. New deal until 2024 with Arsenal has been completed, and then loan deal to Southampton with a buy option. So I think Arsenal have done really really well there in terms of offloading our players. Yeah, I think that is in terms of outgoings. That is it for today. Bellerin and Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I don't think we'll have any other departures. So incomings, it is Douglas Luiz. I wish we can get this deal done early so that we can focus on anything else. That is what we want. If we can get this one over the line very, very early, because I'm looking at information here confirmed by journalists that Arsenal are looking to bring in Douglas Luiz, as mentioned before. A bid has been sent in, and a 25 million deal is now very, very close. So if we can get that deal done, if we can get Luiz over the line in the next 2 or 3 hours, and then in the last hours of the transfer window, we try to focus on a wide forward, I will be very, very glad. Now, I don't understand what happened with the 19 million pound deal that was tabled for Leicester City. I don't know what really happened. They have not really given us any. Response to that. But should they, then I will be able to let you know. So at the moment, that is what we have. Deal clause for Douglas Luiz. Done deal for Hector Bellerin. Personal terms are agreed as well. Done deal for Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Medicals completed as well. Leandro Ndoka crosses over to Aston Villa. Douglas Luiz could cross over to Arsenal very, very soon. And then Wolverhampton Wanderers will get someone in that midfield. So see you very soon. Follow me on Instagram, Kosi_19. Arsenal, Kosi's Arsenal podcast on YouTube, 90 more on YouTube, and Kosi Talks Football on YouTube as well. And make sure TikTok, always Kosi11. Twitter, Kosi Arsenal. I'll see you very, very soon.